Hi, my name's Lee Jasper. This is Brixton, London, and you're watching Lee Jasper Drive Time.
Hi, good morning and welcome to Lee Jasper's Drive Time. My name's Lee Jasper, I'm the host of the show, and thank you for joining us this Saturday morning. It's wet and windy outside here in London after an absolutely scorching week. I mean, I thought I was in Jamaica at times, man. It was incredibly hot for the whole week, but we're delighted to have you with us. Big shout out to our usual people who and fans of the show who tune in. Listen, we're absolutely delighted and love your support. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm sure we've got some new viewers today, no doubt, because of the fabulous guests that I've got lined up for you later on today. As you know, we're always keen on you supporting the channel by just letting other people know right now that we're live and we've got some great guests and a great show talking about street culture, black culture, music. What role does it play in our lives? What about the black economy that's associated with it? What are the issues involved with it? And the fact that it's a multi-million pound industry. So if you could just alert people to let them know that the Jasper Drive Time is live, we would deeply appreciate that. As you know, it's news you can use, so we do want you to feel free to post your comments and your questions to the panel. Just put them post them online, both on YouTube and on Facebook, and both myself and the guests will pick them up as we go along. It's 10 while 12, so it's a decent show, giving us plenty of time to get into the issues at hand. So just let us know if you can see us and you can hear us. Gives us that thumbs up, gives us that wave, just interact with Uncle Lee. So we could. Do you like the t-shirt? Oh man, yeah, look at that, boy. T-shirt's looking fresh. This is Rashid Nix. He's the Rasta in the Green Party. Who the Green Party? He's suing the Green Party for racism, by the way. So although they're a Green Party, they're not that enamored with black people, apparently. Well, we're going to do a show on that, but he's the one who's selling the t-shirts, Rashid Nix. You can get him on Facebook and hook him up if you like the t-shirt. Yeah, I think it's absolutely lovely. Always like that raised fist salute. So let's begin the show. Today we're talking about, well, first of all, I've got to thank my sponsors. How dare I even think about starting the show without thanking my sponsors. And those sponsors are Black Socks, the Social Movement, and Section 106. And I'm delighted to continue to have their support and to be a major platform of communication for the social movement, Black Socks. Well, as you know, the music and entertainment and industry is a multi-million pound a year industry. And today we enjoy the company of four of Britain's top radio hosts and DJs. This nighttime economy, we spend more of our money on leisure and rec than almost any other ethnic community in the United Kingdom. You will not be surprised to know. And some say high-profile DJs have a bigger following than some church ministers. So I'm going to be asking them some key questions, like what can we think? Well, do you still pay R. Kelly? How about that as an ethical question? What is their ethical responsibility? Do they have any, or is it just is their sole function to bring good times to party people? Is that it? No more than that. And of course, when we talk about Britain and the music scene, well, over the last 5, 6, 10 years, we've seen Britain literally conquer the world with major artists breaking through onto the world stage. Grime and Afrobeat now competes on an equal footing with African-American rap, hip-hop and R&B artists for global domination. And they've done so in large part without relying on the traditional route through signing contracts with major multinational companies. And as this week, as we've seen, as the summer heat gets real hot and the youth swelter in the little boxes on the council estates, we've seen block parties erupt from Brixton to Ladbroke Grove and across London and in other parts of the country. 500,000 people on Bournemouth Beach, drugs, drink and stabbing. No riot police. Angel Town, lots of music, sure. Might have gone on a little later than it should have done, probably. But did it need riot police? Did it need the kind of police? Now we'll talk about these issues, and I'll be asking them: what we should be advising young people? Should they have the block parties? If they are going to have them, should they be more organised in order to avoid some of the scenes that we've seen? And of course, with the COVID virus and all of us on lockdown, got to ask, as this has an unprecedented effect on their business. I've seen responses from many DJs who are now moved their thing online, some with greater success, it has to be said, than others. And the key question for today is, where now then for street culture, black culture and the music scene? How can we secure a vibrant late night black economy to capitalize on the undoubted potential of our culture and coming out of this COVID crisis with this economic downturn that is almost inevitable? Securing a black economy is going to be absolutely key. So can the party people come to the saviour of the community and expand? After all, black culture is the most popular culture in Britain right now. Undoubted, unprecedented, unrivaled. But are we making any money out of it? Anyway, before we go on, we've got to pay some homage to the musical greats, because as many of you may or may not know, in my early days, I used to be a DJ, and I just love the music. So I'm going to pay a quick homage to some of our brightest and best, and because I couldn't do the program without doing so. Osabisa, 1971, the Pan-African band that managed their crossover with West African and African Caribbean influence music. Loads of jazz, loads of Afrobeat. Sayamande, 1972, the band mixed Rasta inspirations, jazz and jazz funk to create dance floor classics like The Bra and The Message and loads of others. Aswad, if you didn't see them live at Meanwhile Gardens, look, the hairs on my arms are standing up just talking about it, because I remember Warrior Charge, Aswad, 1976. I'm from Moss Lag, Manchester, so we had the Sweet Sensation, only a one-hit wonder, we know, and they couldn't compete with The Real Thing, which was the Amo brothers up there from Liverpool. Who can forget High Tension? The only album by that group from Brent, but what album? High Tension, British hustle, made the top 20 in Britain. And of course, the classic Steel Pulse Handsworth Revolution. Nina Cherry, Courtney Pine, Soul to Soul, Omar, Rebel MC, you name it, Incognito, Goldie, Timeless 1985, one of my favorites, Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. I know he's a dysfunctional dude, but that boy bounced back more times than Frank Sinatra. So I love him. Craig David, Born to Do It. Miss Dynamite. Oh man, I still got that album on repeat. I don't know why it was never followed up and she didn't emerge into like a global superstar. But there you are, Beverly Knight. Listen, I could go on. Stormzy, Skepta, Gigs, Section Boys, all of the Afrobeat magnificent artists. Kano, Slow. Oh, listen, I could go on. Burna Boy. These are all people who've done absolutely fantastic global success, and we salute all of you, the original OGs and the new ones coming up on the block. And what about the Mobos? Supposed to be the major platform for black music. We'll be talking to our guests about this and much more. So strap in, sit down, get your coffee as I introduce our guests. And it's going to be a tough show for me today because these guys are professionals and I am but a worthy amateur in the podcasting, broadcasting arena. But I'm going to bring them in. First of all, we've got DJ Ali. He's one half of Studio Express 625 and has been entertaining crowds worldwide for over 25 years. He plays a mixture of R&B, soul, reggae, house, and much more. He boasts a number of club events, including Cocoa White. I've never been, but I've heard about it, which has become one of our most sought-after events to attend. And DJ Ali can be found presenting Smooth Sailing Show every Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on uniqueradio.org. Welcome, DJ Ali.
How you doing, Lee? How you doing? Nice to be here. Good morning, first of all.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to have you. Hold on while I bring in the rest of our guests and let's get the show on the road. Next guest is Michael Fontaine. He's a very well-known figure within London's black music scene and the owner of an established record shop, Maestro Records, based in Peckham. In the early 1990s, Mike moved into concert and club promotions, event planning, and working as a consultant. Then became editor at Untold magazine. I used to get that magazine all the time, loved it. A groundbreaking male lifestyle magazine for the UK market. In fact, I think I was in it once. Over the years, Michael has become known as one of the UK's leading concert promoters. Some of the artists that he's brought and worked with are the legendary Betty Wright. I bowed down already. Betty Wright, Leroy Hudson, the Valentine Brothers, Kirk Franklin, Brenda Russell, Kelly Price, Joe Usher, Barbara Mason, and many, many more. So this guy is on top of his game. More recently, Michael's two latest projects, Rare Groove Legends event, which was the first of its type for the UK black community, and also the Elegant After Dinner Affair. I love all of that. I love all of that black bougie stuff, I have to say. Revolutionary. I love that. I like to get dressed up like anybody. Me and the wife, and put on their sparklies and get down there, so I might come along. In 2019, Michael joined forces with a team who created Set the Trend, the weekly podcast aiming to showcase and document the history of the UK underground street sounds and radio DJ movement. And finally, we have WJ Good Groove, veteran DJ promoter, all-round entertainer from Supreme Radio and Special Touch. Been in the business for decades and has one of the biggest events on the streets called The Stamp. More from WG Good Groove. And finally, we've got Ray Banton, podcast host, British club sound system DJ, at the start of the 90s, gained popular notoriety, playing on house, warehouse parties. I used to do the doors on some of them parties, not raves, but I used to be head of security at a couple of them raves. Back in the day, graduated to DJ at some of the iconic nightclubs across London. He's also a full-time marketing consultant, so maybe you can help me with my show, who works as a part-time youth worker with young disadvantaged kids and those with special educational needs. He's been doing that for 13 odd years. He has over 25 years experience in the further education sector and over 10 years as a local primary school governor. I love it when black people step up to be school governors. Not lying of protecting your children and guaranteeing you get a good education. He's at the very best of both worlds, mixing music alongside his passion for uplifting and encouraging young people who were socially excluded from our community. He created the Set the Trend podcast in 2017. There's two claims to that fame.
Two people.
I'll let you guys duke it out. And it's been integral to the growth of street sound from the 80s and the 90s. his story about championing his involvement in creating a scene and a legacy that's had a long time impact on the wider British music culture. He likes to challenge himself to preserve the history of black music and street culture, whether it's been played over, gentrified, or I see, whether it's been either paved over. You know, I'm from Brixton. When I moved to Brixton, people's eyebrows raised because they said, how can you move to that area 35 years ago? Now when I tell them I live in Brixton, their eyebrows raised and say, "Me, how can you afford to live?" How times change, but we all stay the same. And he's talking about the gentrification of the black music scene. And I'm going to dig out about that. I love that politics. So there we are. And his motto is, we ain't winning till we all win. All these boats rise together. So that is my panel this morning. Welcome to you all, guys. Well, you've heard the introduction, and you're all leaders in your own right. I pose several challenges there. I think the first one is that music scene. Where's it going? How do we see it going forward? What's your analysis and views on where it's going? Because our music scene is literally exploding. Our artists and our global players, and yet we can't even get into some West End clubs in the West End of London without a sort of colour bar quota, and we certainly haven't got a grip on the nighttime economy here in London, which could make us, rival music scenes like New York and others in terms of having a viable industry. Who wants to go first on responding to where we're going and what we need to do to consolidate? Ray.
Okay.
Thanks.
He's going to let some of the elder statesmen go first. Okay, where the scene's going. I think personally that it's an ongoing analysis of where it's going at the minute. We're not even sure if we're going to have many black clubs left. That's one. To even put events in London. So we're going to have to think creatively about what type of events we put on, how we put them on, where we put them on. Is it just London or is it internationally that we've got to go to put on further events? The night scene in West End for us, I mean, I don't know what the others feel, but that's more or less dead. I mean, especially with the 24-hour congestion charge, plus the charge that you pay if you come in and you've got CO2 emissions. You're talking about you could be paying anything up to £30 before you even come into the West End in the nighttime to rave. And that's plus you getting caught before 12 and after 12 to pay the congestion charge anyway. So there again, it's a tax on our economy again. West End isn't the cheapest of places for us to put on an event, but our crowd do like going to nice places. And that's when we can obviously get those venues. So I mean, it's going to be a time that we've got to really put our heads together as a DJ community and really think about how we can help each other and where we can go with it. With the technology, so you've got your Zoom parties, you've got your live streaming now. How do we incorporate that into what we do? Can we monetize that? There's a fair few questions that we've got to answer, and at the moment, we're still asking questions. I think some of us are a bit ahead of the game, but again, we're still waiting on government policy. We're still waiting on to see, as again, how many businesses are up and running. Even security firms maybe could not be up and running. I'm not sure if some of them can furlough their staff or not, depending on their position with their own finances and their own tax incomes. Have they still got a group of employees, staff to employ? So there's a whole heap of things that are going to affect us, and it's a bit of a worrying time, to be frank about it. And then, if black people get coronavirus more than anybody else that they're saying, if that's true, do venues want to give us these places because black people are prone to maybe spread the virus more than anybody else? So there's a whole heap of stuff that we've got to think about, and it's very interesting times, Lee.
Very interesting times, and like the rest of the country, we're facing a very critical challenge. And it's interesting that you speak about the broad thinking that's going on about which way forward for the culture. Certainly, the lack of ownership of clubs or venues, let me put it that way, is a critical one. So, who else would like to come in and speak on these broader issues? You look eager, sir. DJ Ali's chomping at the
Yeah,
bit.
I just want to pick up on the point of what Ray said about clubs and, you know, that the kind of lifestyle sort of opportunities. And you have to look on the sort of the flip side of it as well, because there will be a lot of opportunities for club ownership, because there's going to be a lot of businesses up for grabs. And I think we need to kind of look at that side of things as well. Also, what he did say was about security and, you know, the implications of the COVID happening. That is a great point, because, you know, are people going to want to be searched by security at the moment? When you go to enter any club, there's a policy of search, and are people going to want to be searched unless the person, you know, the security's got a mask, a glove, sanitizer? It's a load of things to look into that we've got to take on board on this whole club scene circuit. Yeah, just wanted to put that point across.
I think it's a good point, because these are all, you know, real tough challenges for the sector. Michael, what's your take on where we are and what the future holds?
Good morning, Lee, and thanks for letting us come on to your show. Your T-shirt looks very good.
Thank you.
You also look well. It's been a long time since we've had a conversation. So, you know, look, I think Ray kind of said it. Ali said it. There's a lot of questions that needs to be answered for us to be able to think how we're going to be moving forward. It's going to be very difficult. There's just so many guidelines that we're going to have to go through to get to the point where we need to be to say to ourselves, we can do this. In the meantime, I think we're going to have to look at the online activities, because that's the place that's the only place we can look at the moment. I think we're about 3-4 months away from doing any type of events this year. So we're going to have to look at ways of doing different events online. Some of the clubs are open, but not for business. But we can actually go inside and do some live streamings, and I think that's the way we're going to have to go. In the meantime, that's the direction I'm looking at the moment.
So live streaming from club venues and people partying at home. Like going back
home. Yeah, that's what
1950s, isn't it? Where you gather around the Blue Spot Grand. We on the radio to listen to what's that guy's name again? David Rodigan. That is good groove, sir.
Good morning, sir. Very early Sunday morning for me.
What say you about the future?
I'll touch on what Michael said regarding online partying. I mean, it can happen. I mean, it's whether the public want to do that. I mean, I suppose when we're sitting here thinking to ourselves, are we going to have a club? Can we go to a club? Are there going to be any events taking place? I mean, looking at what's happening right now, I can't see anything taking place before, I don't know, maybe August, September, if we're lucky. So, you know, before that, are people going to be happy to pay to watch us online? I don't know. I suppose the public will vote with their feet. But it's one of those things where, can you get that same vibe you could get in a club? You know, people like to socialize, dance, you know, and do all the things you can do with a drink with people. And these Zoom parties, have done a few of them, and they're okay, you know, providing you can get the people to keep dancing and not see them sitting down looking tired or whatever, because they're at home, very comfortable. So, I mean, the idea that Michael was speaking about maybe streaming from the actual club, I don't know, might give it a different flow, but I think a lot of people really just want to socialize and party together. Now, having said that, people are a bit dubious about going to a club at the moment, or even when the club's open, will they want to go? Because as people are saying, searching and hand sanitizer, are you going to want to, in the black culture, when we, as DJs and as people as a whole, when we are in a party, how do we greet each other? Kiss on the cheek, a hug, or as they say, a fist punch, a fist thump, as they say. Are we going to want to do that? Or are we going to take out our sanitizer, wipe our hands, and then do it, or do it afterwards? It's a very strange era and time to be in, and obviously one that's damaging our industry in a big way. I mean, most definitely.
Okay, well, some great overall insights in the challenge facing you guys and your business. Some of the comments on there are, should people get used to using public transport? But we know our people don't really get dressed up to go on the tube. We know that
nicely put.
On the tube, sometimes me and my wife have jumped on the tube because the tube's right outside the Dorchester or wherever it is we're going to a gig. So it just makes sense because of the extraordinary charges. But I go early and I come back early, so I avoid all the Walhalla on the tube late at night and so on. But people are not traveling by then, so people do want to come by their cars. And you rightly said, how do we do the health aspects of it? Somebody says we should have temperature checks on the door. If you're too hot, you're not coming in. It's a different take on the thing if your name's not on the list. So, that could be one response. But seriously, one of the opportunities, and you know that the Chinese word for crisis is the same as the word for opportunity, right? And one of the opportunities coming out of this is that maybe with clubs going out of business, and property prices dropping through the floor, now's the time for smart business people to start buying up venues. Not in the hope of opening next week, because obviously that's not going to happen. But if people came together and started to buy venues now, then when it does lift, you could be in prime pole position with a whole new raft of new clubs. So I'm hoping people will take some of that inspiration. Now, look, talk about the challenges. Let's talk about your responsibility as DJs. Somebody said to me, you know what, Lee? When you get them on, you should ask. Some of these guys have got followings bigger than the local church. That's what I heard. He said, look, you don't realize how tremendously influential these guys are. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to put the question to them, which is, and I think you've answered it, haven't you, in relation to the health question. In terms of necktie cut, do you have any ethical responsibilities at all, or is it just your job to bring good to party people?
No, I think we all.
I think we all got.
We've all got it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because I'm sure a few of us have been asked to do private events outside, and it's down to the decision of the DJ first and foremost. But also you got to take into consideration your patrons. Now, I would hate for something to happen or somebody to catch, COVID from an event I'm playing at.
Yeah.
And that's a responsibility I've got to take on personally. So I guess we all got some ethical,
Yeah, I mean, Ali, you're 100% right. And we all got it. And look, one of the most important things is that without the patrons, we are nobody. So we have to make sure that we look after our patrons. It's not just about us, them coming and having a party. We have to look after their social, their well-being. It's all part of it. And we would never take that for granted.
I think there's a double-edged sword to this, though, that we've got to get used to. And as bad as COVID is a strain of flu. And like flu, there's no cure. People die of flu. People die of pneumonia. At some point, you're going to have to get used to the risk, because there's a risk to everything. There's a risk when you step outside your front door. There's a risk to going anywhere. So you've got to think about And for some people, the answer will be no, because the risk will be too high for them, because maybe they suffer from a complication of things, and that's fine. But the kind of talk that I hear, especially not so much, well, coming from government and everyone else, is like everyone should be scared to go outside, should be scared to go and do anything. That's not going to be feasible for a large amount of the population. And just going work for many people still depend on London transport, going on a bus, going on a train, going on a tube. Many people are going to be flying out. They're going to go on holiday. They're going to get a plane. I've still got to say, there's still concerns that maybe the air conditioning in planes spreads that kind of disease, whether a virus, whether it's COVID or whether it's just a common flu or whether it's anything else. So to me, it's got to be a conversation around more, how do we manage the risk of going out? And it's not to be terrified and petrified of stepping out and supporting, whether it's the church, whether it's us, whether it's going to support the local school having their fears or whatever. It just needs to be a more thought through conversation about that, because it's going to happen. I don't see us as a people, us as a nation, staying indoors, because you know that Joe Bloggs is going to be going down the pub. The pub's going to be open. They're going to go. So I just think it's got to be a more managed conversation.
A more managed conversation with probably greater clarity from government, because I'm not entirely sure that government's got understands what message it wants to give to people. Already with training the fact that pubs are going to open sometime next week, has already made people think, well, if pubs are going to open next week, let's party now. What a few days are going to make. So the messaging of government has got to be clear. But also, I think that the balance of it is the infection rate, isn't it? If the infection rate is too high, then you can't take that calculated risk. Or if you do, then you do it knowing that you're more likely to be infected. Whereas if the infection rate is low, then there is a more managed conversation in the way that you described. Do you think putting the health piece aside, have you got any other broader ethical responsibilities? Do you guys still play artists like R. Kelly and you are googly? You're still playing paedophile music? What's going on? You know what I mean?
No R. Kelly. No R. Kelly.
It's funny. No, it's funny.
I don't know that much. I don't know these things.
No, it's funny you said that. I was programming a show for next week, and I do like live renditions of songs. And I was looking at an R. Kelly song. It's R. Kelly's version of Sam Cooke. So Change's Gonna Come, and he sings it so well. And I was like, can I get away with playing this? But I thought to myself, I better not.
Yeah, you shouldn't have even mentioned it on here, brother.
It's honest. I'm real. It's honest.
Yeah, we love the honesty still. Anybody else play R. Kelly or not play R. Kelly?
No.
No.
He's got so much musical catalogue, and you're looking at his tunes and say, yeah, that's a nice tune, and shall I play or no? I can't.
I know it's a whole different conversation, but I always say, R. Kelly the artist I like. R. Kelly the man is no good. So I try and separate the music from the man, but I know it's a debate that can go on forever. But I know that's not what we're here for today, so we're not going to go there.
I ain't separating shit. That boy's going. They do this over the shoulder, bro.
But there's like so many musicians in black music that has a story, an unkind story, but we still play their music.
I don't know about them, bro, and I can only act on what I know. I know, what you know. What you don't know, you don't. What you don't know, you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I think our sisters would want us as black men on this on this thing to make sure that we're clear about that. I'll be clear about it to make sure on your behalf that. What do you think it's further than that? Like, moving away from R. Kelly, do you think, you know, you've got a responsibility in any other broader sense? Do you try and employ young black people to help you in your events? Are you focused on all sorts of issues, trying to address? Do you support events, you know, freely, charity events and stuff like that to help out in the community? Tell us.
I think we do. The broad consensus is that we do that. I don't think we do it. Well, one, we don't do it as much as we could do, and the ones that we do, we don't really sing and shout about it. There's, you know, the 3-4 DJs that you've got here. You know, I know that they do free events. I know they play for charity events, but we don't shout about it. We just get on with it and just do it. I think when we was younger, we wasn't so much minded to the community aspect of that in terms of what we can do more for the community. But now we're in our elder statesman year.
Older and wiser. Now that we're older and wiser,
we do think about that much more. And legacy is important to us. You know, we want to leave something that people can take and carry on. It's not about finishing with any of us here, because the whole culture, the whole business is bigger than us. So how we do communicate and do partner with other organizations right now is a talk that is much more higher up on that stage. But we also need, and this is one thing to the MPs, the local people that are doing their own business. They don't really reach out to us. They don't really do that.
Really?
No, they don't. No, listen. For me as a DJ, maybe Goody has a different, because he owns a radio station and maybe that's more prevalent in that. But for me, it's like we're here and we're the underground, and for you know, and it's just them. They're the underground, but we have teachers, we have solicitors, we have barristers. You know, we have people of that kind of ilk coming to our events. So, but I just think that because we're labeled as the underground and so forth, it's like, well, okay, they haven't really got that much of a use. That's in my opinion, anyway.
Wow, an untapped resource, an untapped rich resource. Goody good groove. What are you saying, man?
Yeah, I mean, I was the whole charity scenario, as you were speaking about. I mean, I do a lot of work on. I run Supreme Radio, so I do a lot of work with charity, community stuff, and so forth and whatnot. And you know, we're supposed to be a community radio station, but as a whole, as a DJ, you separate two things here. We do have we do have an idea of how we're supposed to let our ravers rave, where we take them, the places we put them in. It's a big thing, yeah, and we have our obligation to look after them in some aspects. But there's two sides of the coin here. You know, on one side is the DJ side, his earnings and how he lives and what he does, and on the other side, you look at about how you can help the community. But sometimes, as Ray said, we are the forgotten heroes. We're the ones that play the music for everyone to rave. We're the ones that pack out the clubs. Club owners make their money and so forth and whatnot. We do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but I think that club ownership, we was talking about that just a little while ago. Yeah. One of the most difficult things. Yeah, you can buy a building or you can buy a club. One of the most difficult things is to get your license. Yeah, they're not giving us late license. They're giving us early licenses. Yeah, if you're have a colourful background, so to speak. Yeah, there's a possibility you might even get a license. You may have to put someone else up front. And then it's the movement of licenses. There's about 4 or 5 clubs in East London right now who can't get past a 2 o'clock license. Yeah, and they've not had no issues in their clubs or anything. But this is how it borders out. There's a lot of people who are lucky who have got decent licenses, or you have to have that scenario where you have 15 late licenses for the year, and then when they're done, you're struggling to actually try and keep your club afloat. So with this whole pandemic, I can see a lot of clubs going under. Yeah, and there may be space for us to go and slip in and buy a club, but can we get the license? Can we go to the time we want to go to? And are the government going to give us that? And sometimes I look at the whole industry and say to myself, like, where we are right now, nothing going on, no clubs, no parties, people having block parties and partying in the park. it's just our culture. So is our culture going to return? It's a very difficult time to wonder, are we going to be able to do what we was doing before? We do a lot of stuff abroad. I do a massive event in Abu Dhabi. It's now in my second year. Stamp. That's an event that started here in the UK and has been going for 20 years. But clubs not being able to hold my numbers, clubs sometimes losing their licenses. You got to start looking out of the box. And I took it abroad, but even that's affected by COVID. We can't fly. Can we leave the country? Are we going to be able to? Do we have to quarantine? So, as a whole, I think, I don't know where this industry is going. I might start working in Sainsbury's. You know what I mean?
Packing shelves in Tesco. Nah, we can't make that happen now. You know what I mean? We've got to get a retirement fund for that you guys are in the autumn of your lives. I thought, oh my gosh, cruel. You know what? I think there are great challenges around that. I just want to pick up on the licensing thing because I was a former policing director for London. And I can tell you my view that I think institutionalized racism and corruption is rife in the licensing music club industry. Because I've seen people get licenses, have violent incidents in their clubs, continue to open. And I've seen black club owners have licenses, have an incident that is nowhere near as serious as others that I've seen, and all of a sudden their clubs are shut down. My experience has been that there needs to be a sort of fundamental human rights challenge to the Equality and Human Rights Commission to do an investigation on the allocation of licenses to black club owners, because there's something very sticky, rotten and fishy going on with certain licensed club police officers and local authority staff. But that's my view. I don't want you guys to comment because it wouldn't be fair to you to draw you into that. But that's certainly my view. So difficult challenges, huge challenges set against us. Ethical responsibilities. We've just seen Stormzy announce what 10 million over 10 years. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of response we want from our artists. And let's move on to our artists. But just before we do, one question that people are asking, because you won't believe the number of people online listening to this conversation now. But are the ravers hard to please? That's the key question. People want to know. I'm going to tell you, from my perspective, I always find that once I find the groove, I can carry the crowd. You've got to find the groove. But once you get it, it's like a rich scene. You get it. But, some crowds are dead stock people, innit? We were talking earlier about the Zoom, people sitting down in their yard watching Zoom parties. Dead stock people are hard to motivate. But what are you doing? Maybe we should have dead stock Zoom parties. Don't spoil the vibe for everybody else. But what do you think, guys? Are we hard to please?
You know what? I'm gonna take this one.
For the team?
You're gonna take this one for the team, Goody? Yeah?
One for the team. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. If you want,
Goody, be careful.
I know. I'm trying to pick my words carefully before I have a chat show about me. You know what I mean? So let me pick my words carefully. Yeah. For me, yeah, you do what you do, yeah, and I'll say this in the strongest term. A good DJ knows how to read a crowd, but don't get it twisted for a second. You can go off track. We all can. Yeah, so it's not like we're 10 out of 10 every single time. Sometimes we're 9.5 out of 10. You know what I mean? But we're not always 10 out of 10. And so things have changed in the Raven scene. When I very first came into this business many years ago, there were two different types. There were soul people and there were reggae people. Yeah, and those how the dances were. Obviously as the years have gone on, DJs have expanded their craft and can play all types of music. So so the clubs have all types of people in those parties and dances. Now, not everyone is going to be happy with you playing 35 minutes of reggae or 35 minutes of soul if they're reggae or soul people. So sometimes it becomes difficult to, how shall I put it, find a balance. Yeah, as you say, you can't please everyone all the time. Yeah, but I've noticed that over the last 4 or 5 years, our ravers have become very vocal. Yeah, about what they want and how they want it. Yeah, some people have voted with their feet. And I've always said, and I'm slightly controversial as people tell me, yeah, but I've always said that if you don't like something, yeah, you can vote with your feet and you can decide not to go to that particular venue or listen to that particular DJ. But you can't stand in the party and moan consistently about what you're not getting. You know, you pay your money and you can be vocal as you want. But I'm a person, if I go to, and I'll say Sainsbury's or Tesco's or wherever, and I'm not happy with the prices in there, I'll go to another supermarket. That's how I've always been. And I think the public can do as they please because they pay their money, but you're not paying for us per se as a person. You're paying for the music that we play. So sometimes I think it does get a bit, heavy, with how people deal with us. And we've been entertaining these people for 30 plus years. A long time. So if we got it wrong, yeah, I don't want to sound bossy, but why are we still at the top of our game? There are things that happen that, in parties where you think, oh God, why did he play that or whatever? But that's, personal preference. The person over there is saying wicked tune. So you can't always get that balance. But I think overall, we do a really good job. And I don't want to speak just for myself.
Yeah, I think the rest of the DJs should speak as well.
Yeah,
don't run from it.
Yeah, definitely.
You're still suffering farmer, it seems to me, but everybody else keeps suffering.
It's a difficult one because, you can't, as he said, you can't please people all the time. But at the same time, let's take it back to that promoter umbrella as well, because the patrons do make it hard for us. Because for how long has smoking been banned in venues?
Years now, isn't it?
Right, and you still have people that want to smoke in venues.
Yeah.
When we're trying,
hold on, because I haven't been in a club in a long time now. Are you telling me that there are people in clubs who still want to smoke?
Definitely.
Oh my!
Always one or two that want to light up a Bob Marley cigarette. Cigarette. They don't want to go outside. They want to smoke there. So it makes it difficult for us as promoters and DJs to put on events. So when you were saying about, clubs don't want to give us venues and stuff like that, these sort of things do not help at all. And when you come into the music side of things, as you say, people are very hard to please at a particular time, but they pay their money, so they expect a certain performance and level of presentation. I think overall, we do give, generally.
Okay.
We have our days and you have your good days, but generally we give our overall performance.
All right, okay.
Do you know what it is?
Ray, go ahead, Ray.
I honestly feel that the level of understanding of what we do sometimes, this scene is the hardest scene to play music in. And I'll tell you for why. We don't play one type of music. We play a mashup of all different genres. We're probably the only scene that you come to. If you go house, then you get house music. If you go soca, then you get soca. You might get a bit of reggae in there. Most raves that you go, you're not getting revival, dancehall, soca, Afro house, garage, jungle, revival. I mean, the list goes on. We play everything. And you know how hard it is to play 9-10 genres of music over a night time and keep that vibe up to that level. It's not easy. Especially when you've got venues where promoters have gone to try and fill out the venues. They've gone to put in 9 DJs on a bill just to fill out a venue. That means the DJ's got half hour, 45 minutes. Some DJs rush their set just to get the exposure. So they're not really team playing, but I can understand why they do it, because they want to get noticed. So it is hard for us to really have everybody on a level where everybody says that they're going to enjoy themselves. But as Goody says, the culture that we've come out of, it started from about 1983. We're still here. We're still entertaining a lot of people. We're still playing at some good clubs around the country and going internationally. So I think on a level, we're doing good. Whether we're doing good enough, well, there's still room for improvement. But I have seen a comment which I'd like to address, which one of our listeners put in, Anita Leslie, and she says that I think the street DJs are money orientated. Now, you see, this is perception, and I speak. There's only one full-time DJ promoter on this panel, and that's Goody. The rest of us have 2 and 3 jobs, 4 jobs, trying to do just to make up money. It's not just this job that we earn our money out. There's only one DJ that I think we could look at over our business that we say he really stepped over the bar and he was earning the kind of money that we'd be like to earn, because there's no Fat Boy Slims in this circuit here. Yeah. And that one DJ was Mystery.
Yeah.
And from Mystery has did it, and he's not doing it now to that level. There's no other DJ earning that. I mean, if they think that we're earning millions, that's not the case. Yes, we do get paid, and we do appreciate their money, no doubt. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but to say that we are money orientated is wrong. Some of these events, All White Cocoa, that costs £20,000 plus to put on before they even get in the venue. So that's a deposit for a house that we're putting up. And if we lose it, it's me and Ali losing our pants. No one else ain't losing it. Everyone else is going to go about the business. That isn't money grabbing for the money that we put on and that we charge. And it's a risk that we take. And every risk sometimes, you've got to be fair and say, in any business, if someone takes a risk, then they should look at it at an economical way that they might make money out of it at some point. And like we do hope they do, because they're entrepreneurs. They're putting money into our economy. But to say that we're money orientated solely is a bit really harsh on us, I think.
Yeah, I think agree with that. To be honest, most DJs that I know, you're right, have 2 or 3 jobs. They're not in that big money market league. And sometimes our people, suffer a psychology where they're more than happy to, pay big money to go to some swank club in the middle of the West End, or, some big other name DJ. But they seem to begrudge, giving people an opportunity to earn a decent living in our own community. And we got to come out of that mentality. Nobody on this panel is. As Ray said in the Fat Boy Slim Mystery area, but we want to shout out to Mystery because one of my favorite DJs. I love the way he brings his eclectic mix, and I'm going to challenge him on that because people have already said online that some of these radio DJs, their set play is just the set play all the time, and nobody brings anything kind of fresh, different angle. I'll be challenging you in that. A bit later on, but in relation to the block parties, which are now going on in Housden, in Brixton, and in Ladbroke Grove, and so on and so forth. What's your response to these? Because look, I did Carnival for 15 years. I was head steward at Carnival for 15 years, so I know about a man turning up with a sound system, with a van load of booze and a sound system, and just making a quick killing by stringing up real fast illegally, bussing it, and then getting out there before the police come, having sold all the booze and going home counting the money. Is that what's happening, or is it like local people just getting together because they're absolutely, lockdown crazy? I was thinking about it the other day, and I thought, when I remember I used to live in one of them council houses when I used to live in Moss Side, when that sun comes and the heat gets hot, bro, you can't stay in them. You can't stay in them flats. You can't. It feels like you can't breathe. You have to go outside. Yeah, because all the heat rises up, and if you're on the 3rd and 4th floor, man, you've got some serious. Yeah. What's your response to what you've heard, and how do we think that should be taken forward? Is there a way of doing this better that kids don't get into trouble? If they're going to do it anyway, shouldn't we try and manage that a bit better?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be some sort of control over this thing, because they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Kids come out, they're gonna party. When I was young, I used to live on an estate, and that same estate had a block party the other day. And I'm not condoning what they did, but if I was their age, I might have been out there myself. But at the same time, we need to have some sort of like control of it. If we're going to do it, we need to do it sensibly. It needs to be controlled, social distancing, and have it sensibly done. That's because, like you said, they're gonna do it anyway. Even the adults are doing it now anyway.
All right, exactly. I think that point there, I'd just like to join Ali with that. It's not only young people doing that; adults are doing parties. So I don't get why it's always on. The narrative is always on the young people when some of the older people are not addressing that the older people are doing it and they're their friends. You know what I mean? So you can't expect young people to. Well, not the expectation cannot be. We've just got to manage the situation better, because young people are not going to stay in their houses in these little 1-bedroom flats, 2 to a room, or however that they're living in this hot situation. They're gonna go out, they're gonna get on the street. Neither do we know if they have parents. People are saying like, where their parents? How do we know if they have parents? How do we know if their parents are sick? How do we know if their parents, they're carers, so they're just getting out to let off a little bit of steam? We don't know the situation of most of these young people. So I don't feel that we should always target them. It's everybody.
And now, you've got the block parties. You've also got the parties now in the park, the silent disco parties, which is like kind of taking off. It's like yesterday there was 3 in London where everyone's in the park and they got their headphones on, so they're not making any noise. The music's not loud and there's partying. Look, I think I want them to do it, but I don't like the violence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't like the violence. So if there's a way that we can do it properly and we can, and there's no violence, I'm all for it. Even like the one in Brixton the other day, and you saw the police, you saw the kids, the youth running the police, and then the following day there was an incident in Brixton Market, and I just thought to myself, you saw one of the shopkeepers attacked a lady in the supermarket, and the first thing that everyone was saying was, call the police, call the police, call the police. But the same police that the youths ran yesterday are the same police they're calling to save the lady today. So I just think that, we just got to learn to avoid the violence. Let's try and work together. We need some community leaders. We need leadership. And I think we just need to get together and try and organize ourselves better so we can have these parties legally, block parties legally, and, be friendly with your local police officer, because they're 9 times out of 10, they're there to help you. Well, maybe not that high, but they're there to help you. Yeah. And I think that's just something that we've got to get together. We've got to get that working.
Yeah, and I think, and not only that, I think coming from government, you can't be trying, and I'll use a street word because most people don't, you can't be saying that you're going to bad up the youths to behave themselves. Priti Patel can sit there and say, if you don't do this, then we're going to come down with everything and, we're going to get you off the street. That's like a red flag to a bull. You can't be telling young people that. You can't be telling them that's how that you're going to deal with them, because a lot of them will say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? So are you going to target me as well with that? I just think the government they just need to, that message, that tone of message, it's just not there. They're not communicating right with our community and most communities. 4,000 people was up in Manchester. That party in the park, that was the 3rd week that they got. So it had been on for 2 weeks previous.
That's right. Yeah.
mean,
4,000 one week, 2,000 the second week.
Wow.
Yeah,
Big numbers.
And big numbers, and that wasn't mainly black people in there. That was 80% was white people from what I saw on the videos. You know, there was a boat party yesterday in London. There's a boat going on in London. And people are raving on.
I didn't know about that.
All these things are happening. You get me? So it's how we manage it. It's not.
I think the thing is that there's this inconsistency in the way that these things are being policed. If you're at Bournemouth, it's one kind of policing, or in Manchester, and if it's Angel Town, it seems to attract another sort of policing. I mean, I spoke to people in Angel Town because I live in Brixton, and they said it was more or less fine. And then later on, when I think what happened is that the police officers got a load of stick during the day, and when the crowd thinned out, they thought they'd give some back. So they made an arrest. It was all a bit overly violent, and when the kids saw it, they kicked off. But I think they're absolutely right in relation to people of our age, really, and older and younger, coming together and saying, you know what, if they're going to do it anyway, let's put some protective mechanism around it. Because I think 99.9 kids would say, okay, if we can have something between these hours and that hours, and we know it's all going to be, legitimized, and we're not going to get any asshole. And as long as people are there to, steward it and make sure it's okay, and they'll come party and go home, at least they'll be able to let off steam. Because I'm like Michael and others. If I was 18, I'd be out there. You know what I mean? I know it's hard when you've got the bass speaker outside your flat and you're living with your help. But at the same time, we've got to try and facilitate. If they're going to do it anyway, and it's better it's done in a way in which they're legal. But I love the new technology as well that Michael talks about, these silent discos. I think that the use of new technology gives us an opportunity both to socially distance, not to be antisocial in terms of noise, and still have what could be a, potentially great time. I've been to a few of them, and they're nice raves. Yeah, it takes a bit getting used to, right? You don't feel the vibration through your feet as much, but come on, you can do that. And I'm all for the end of the day. These youths are going to have these parties anyway, so it's better that we try and work with the authorities to try and get some safety and security, so that the police are not injured, the kids are not injured, that the neighbours, can get to sleep at some decent time o'clock, and the thing can go on without Walhalla. We saw that.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good if that can happen.
That's got to be the way.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's 11 o'clock, and we put the world to rights. But now, let's talk about the music now and the artists, because obviously you guys are, one of the leading sectors of musicologists. I'm going to call you PhD in masters and bottom of that box and pulling up that rare groove. That man just said, "Wow." I know that tune. I didn't even hear it like he's just played it today. So, in relation to the music, guys, what was the music that drew you in to be a DJ? Highlight of your music journeys and where you're at.
That's a hard one.
Come on, man. Dig deep. Go to the bottom of the box. Early days.
Well, what I would say, okay, I'll go first. Okay, so what drew me into this? I'm a dancehall man. So originally Saxon.
Yeah.
So that's how I came into this music, and it was Saxon with followed by Mystery. So it was those two environments, and then I used to go clubbing. So I used to go to the old Shinolas, Bel Air, when you had TC Fords, Hector Selector, and Dub Bug and DJ Keithley doing the Friday nights. They're down there. So that club environment got me into, a wider stretch of music. But that's how I started, from a sound background, from doing the apprenticeship, from lifting boxes, wanting to be a DJ, wanting to just be part of that group of people, not a gang, but a group of guys that just wanted to achieve something within the music. So that's how I started. That was way back.
Okay.
Well,
what about you, DJ Ali?
I think most of us sort of like had similar sort of upbringings and introductions into music. I used to, when I was young, I used to listen to a sound called Savannah, which is a local sound for where I am in Northwest London. and basically just went on to listening to them, then to other sounds, and fell into music, sort of like just collecting soul music and reggae music, and started playing music at parties. And then one party, particularly a group of guys asked me to come and play at a party. They were Studio Express, so I wasn't actually in Studio Express at that time. I was introduced to the sound by playing at a party, and from there I just took it on board. And you know, for me, it was like I just like to see people enjoying themselves. That's what I like to. The music I'm playing reflects on people's enjoyment. So for me, it's not about what I play; it's about how you embrace the music you're getting, and for me to make you have a good time, basically. So yeah, that was my journey. And then obviously you listen to sounds like your Touch of Classes, your Mysteries, and so forth. You want to sort of like emulate them, and from there, that's when we got into, like, I don't know, for us it was like a street culture underbelly. So the first tier of sounds were like Touch of Class, Company, and then basically we came under them. Like you had your Fifth Avenues, your Studio Expresses, your Special Touches, so forth. And yeah, that was the journey, basically.
Okay. Well, my journey started quite early. Yeah. I always loved the music, and I loved what DJs could make people do. Yeah. You know, playing a particular track, you know, you got an ovation from the crowd, or it screamed or pull ups. That's what grabbed me. I looked at that, I thought, I want to do that. You know, that's what I want to do. And you know, in those times I was following sounds like Casual Affair. And I'll say why, because Casual Affair carried all the ladies. And that's just how it was. you know, Casual Affair, and they was my local sound. They came from East London, Vibe and the crew. So I ended up carrying speaker boxes for them. You know, my cousin had a sound called Imperial Zion. I followed Sir George. And predominantly, I mean, I'm not going to lie, when I was younger, a lot of my friends and colleagues were into reggae music. But I saw the soul aspect of it, because I could see that the ladies would follow the soul, and the men followed the sounds. You know, Jemmy Magic, another sound that was around. But as time went on, I actually fell into the dancehall scene. It wasn't called dancehall then; it was called ragga. Yeah. And I fell into it in a big way. Like I had my own night on a Wednesday, which is, you know, hard to believe now, considering the fact that people just about come out on a Friday or Saturday. You know, so I had a Wednesday night, very well attended. I used to see Ray down there, and quite a few of my DJ colleagues. So that was where it started for me. But you know, as time went on, you jump and change from different genres. I was one of the lucky ones to be able to be in both genres and kind of shine in both of them in some aspects. But you know, for me, if you ask me a straightforward question, where does your heart lie? I will tell you, money. Most definitely.
Who said that?
Reggae music is what made me jump into the scene.
Absolutely. Michael.
Yeah, it's funny. Mine is soul music. It started at home, to the honest truth. I remember listening, being in the other room and listening to the music coming through and thinking, what the hell is that? My sister used to play some really nice songs, you know, like Shirley Brown, Brenda Russell, and Marlena Shaw. And I was like, oh, I just didn't know. First time I was hearing this stuff, and I was like, and it gravitated towards me. And then I got a job, a Saturday job. My first Saturday job was in a record shop in Walthamstow, BAM Records. And then I went to work on Sunday down at Petticoat Lane in the market, selling records. And because I was so good at my job, we had another store on the south side of London, which was in Peckham. So they took me over there to Peckham, and I just started selling records to the customers that didn't know. I felt like I was teaching them stuff, because I was playing songs and they didn't know what it was, and they was like, oh my gosh, I love that record. So from there, I started playing. I got an invitation from one of my colleagues, DJ Legs, to play at a birthday party over Northwest London. And then from then on, I just started playing music, officially became a DJ, and the rest is history.
Wow. There are younger viewers asking, what is a record shop?
Do you know what, Lido? That's a good question, because EastEnder can probably speak more on it, but in terms of our economy, the whole music industry was centered around the record shop. And now where you don't have so much record shops, with everything going online, where with vinyl not being sold as much anymore, or a format that the younger DJs use, they go to iTunes, they go online to get their tunes. It has really suffered that you haven't had that record shop there.
And yeah, and the record shop, it wasn't just the record shop. It was like, it's where I met all my colleagues, all my DJ friends. It was what they call barbershop talk. Cause like people come in there, we talk music, we buy music, we discuss where the hot parties are tonight.
Network.
We network. It was, it was a fantastic place. And I think today, with some of the DJs, I think they kind of lost touch of what's really going on, of what music is going on, because they're not communicating with other people. So they don't know what the latest is. They don't know what the trend is, because you go to iTunes, you just download. You're not talking to anyone apart from a computer. And I think that, those days are really missed, even down to selling tickets for our events. Yes, we make good money from selling tickets. But even that now, that's gone online, so we don't get that. So that whole experience, that record shop experience, is missed.
To pick up on the point of that, Michael, and you're correct, because even as you go back to saying like pleasing a lot of people, because there's so much different outlets of music now. Yeah,
you get lost.
You get lost, even for the people that listen to music. Like everybody can listen to music on so many different formats, and before you had to just go to the club to hear a particular track. It's not like that anymore. You can just you can listen to music on any iTunes, Spotify. So your knowledge of music is going to be so vast. You're not going to be happy with what the DJ plays, because you know to yourself that you can hear any kind of music that you want to hear.
Yeah. And I also think that's part of the frustration with some of the ravers now, because they're hearing it from so many different places, that when they go out, they don't get to hear everything that they're hearing, because there's so much of it. There's so much of it.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that as well quickly about not hearing what they want to hear in the clubs. And as in Special Touch, I'm the mic man, but obviously I still play on the radio. I don't know about music. And I think that a lot of the ravers do say that, oh, we heard you played it on the radio. Why haven't you not playing that in the party? And or I heard it on Spotify, or I heard it on the other tape. Can you play that? And, as a DJ, you'd want to go into a party and play something new that no one doesn't know. You want to play all these new hit tunes. As Michael said, we used to go to the record shop. Michael would be like, yeah, this is the one, buddy. You'd buy it on the basis of what he was saying. Obviously, not all the time, because he wasn't always right. Yeah, but on the basis you'd buy that, and then you want to be the first person to go to the club and play that tune that you just put in the record shop. But nowadays, and I'm not being funny, you can't play everything you buy. And I know there are a lot of people in the parties who want to hear new music, who want to hear fresh music, who want to hear, but there's also people in the party who want to hear those old favorites, those old classics, those, as people say now, the same old, same old. But there are a percentage of people in the dance who want to hear the same old, and there are a percentage in the dance who want to hear new music. Yeah. And I agree with that totally. But sadly, as a DJ standing there looking at the crowd, you play a half an hour set of new music, and they'll be stoning you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a difficult situation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. Certainly, I think that they just a huge palette and options that people have got to listen to music right across all these different genres means it's incredible difficult to bring that together. But what I found about London is that as a city, it probably brings those genres together more successfully than anywhere else I've ever known. And what I like about the London scene, it's almost like a London feel to it, where you can get the Latin America and you can get, you know, the usual stuff. You can get the reggae. You know, some stuff I heard, you know, Bangladeshi youths doing a ragga beat the other day. There's one wicked tuner, you know, from East End of London. And you can bring all of that stuff together. And I think it's the attraction that London is a world city, if you like, because you can find every food, every music, every culture in the world. You can find it here in London somewhere, even if it's only small. And what I think is the most exciting and probably, dare I say, maybe a way forward, is that mashup that you were speaking about earlier on, that bringing all of those cultures together. You know, you think of you know these huge cultural mashup tunes of Latin American rappers, African American rappers, Afrobeat. You know, even some of that Bhangra music is creeping into there, and all sorts of other things. Nowhere in the world, unless I'm mistaken, you guys travel more than me. I think London's almost unique in being able to bring that world music sound together. Am I mistaken in that? Or what do you think?
No, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And you know, look, one of the things that we do, you know, our scene is a community scene. You know, we know our audience, they know us. We bring new people into it, and you know, it's a very special thing. It's very, very special, and people on the outside don't really understand it. But you know, I just think that sometimes, you know, sometimes.
Careful.
No, all right, no, I won't say that. I'll be careful on that one.
He lost his bottle. He lost his bottle.
Time, right? We speak it as we find it. Spit it out. Talk.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
I just think that, you know, it's and it's what I was saying before, really. Have we really captured that? You know, are we touting ourselves as that the global center, the global capital of world mashup music? Is that what we are, and should we be branding that more aggressively around the world? Because I think people coming up when, you know, you see it when things are running normal. I see all of these black people and Europeans coming from Europe. They're in Brixton from like 2:00 Saturday afternoon, you know, buying food, shopping, and then they're partying later on at night in all the clubs around there. And it's almost as if, like, you know, London scene is the cultural capital of Europe for music and dance. You agree? You disagree?
I just think that we haven't branded ourselves as maybe as good as we should have done in the past, which is one of the things that collectively, like, we do talk about when we get together, how we can brand ourselves better. Because if people don't know what we're doing, what we're selling, and it's just the people then that we're used to be getting in touch with, which is not bad. I mean, we've not done a bad job. I mean, most of our scene is word of mouth. You know, we haven't really done the big branding. We haven't really done the big publicity. We don't really do those big boards that you see, those big paste up boards that you might see under the going on the motorway. We don't really do the traffic lights where you see the cardboards up where distance. So I don't really think. I think that we could get better at that, and that's one of the things that we're looking at the minute.
Well, I mean, right, when he was on Set the Trend and he was interviewing Dave Paul, was it he was interviewing?
Ray Paul.
Yeah, Ray Paul. And he asked a very poignant question. I was waiting to be interviewed.
And just to say that Ray Paul used to be the former head of BBC One Extra.
Yeah. So, you know, I was sitting in the background listening to the interview, and he made a point that made me, I felt like I wanted to hold my head in my hands. He said, you know, Ray asked him, why didn't you bring any of the street sound DJs, as we're called or labeled, to when the BBC One Extra played? And he asked the question. So if I wanted to hire one of you DJs, who would I call? And Ray said, well, me, but how would I get hold of you? And Ray stumbled for a while, and I thought, we don't have like a manager, we don't have anything along those lines. So as much as Michael was saying, it was always a word of mouth scenario. But for us to be worldwide, we have to put our brand in a different place, because everyone knows me or Ray or Ali or whatever, and they will call us personally and say, I want to book your sound for ABC. But if a general person, and I'll say as a general white person who was maybe, I don't know, in another country.
Yeah, or doing festivals or something.
Or doing festivals, who would he call? And that's where I think we've gone wrong with our business.
To pick up on the point about that, Goody, I think we've done it sort of like, intentionally, because we sort of like given our scene a community feel, as Michael said. We've probably done what we shouldn't have done. We've kept it more community based, and we haven't gone corporate. We haven't done, that big agency sort of, direction, because we wanted to keep our scene as a community based scene. Rightly or wrongly, that's what we've done.
But on going forward, because as Jasper was saying, are we the leaders of the mashup? At this present moment in time, we're the leaders in that community.
I think what we do is unique. You go anywhere out of London. I'm not even going to say the UK. You go anywhere out of London. You go Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, anywhere like that. London scene is London scene. What we do is basically a niche market for London.
Yeah,
we haven't taken it out of London. Yeah.
Rob. Manchester's the city where we dance on the tables, Rob. Don't we? The music scene. But yeah, I'm going with you on the. But I think that going forward, a brand that says we are the world music DJs coming out of London. Yeah, and if you want to book us, you can have any one of these 5, 6, 7, 9, how many DJs, all of them who are committed to bringing you the finest beats from around, cultures around the world. I think you're going to get hired. And I think you're going to get hired in Europe. I think you're going to get hired in the UK. And I think BBC One Extra is going to say, what's this new thing that's coming out of London? I think that it's all about the marketing and the brand, isn't it? And if we going forward, if we brand it in a super sexy way, and let's face it, we've got the branding talent out there. Ray is a consultant on this. We've got the marketing talent out there to bring us the super slick graphics, the slick presentation. We can get booking agents for these world talented DJs. You can market it as a team of DJs that are on that world level. Shit, I could write the script myself and hire you all.
You might have a job there, Lee.
I'm telling you.
Doing it for the community, Lee.
What I always say, when I make $1 million, I can do more for the community at that point than, trying to keep community while I still got £10 in my pocket. So if we can, get a brand that lifts us up there, then we can do like Stormzy and put back into the community. But first, you've got to get up there. And I think you guys are, fabulous talents, but I don't think you're realizing your global potential. And let's face it, if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that. So either we take control of our culture, or you're just going to let, some other guy come along and just and wrap it all up, and then you'll be hired by them. So there's a lot to talk about in terms of the way that could possibly be. If you want to sign up to my company, I'll talk to Ray. We'll get it going. And
do you know what I have seen though, Lee? Where we've been locked down and DJs have taken to do live streaming.
Yeah.
As you see the branding.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it wasn't that. There was no branding. You was just going on. You was just streaming. You wasn't thinking about your environment, how you looked, and everything else. If you see that most DJs now, especially in our culture, have taken that seriously and are kind of looking at how they look. You know what I mean? Like the branding behind it. You know what I mean? Looking at the engagement, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And especially with the music as well, because I don't know about other DJs, but I've felt back in love with music a little bit more because the amount of music that I've got to play online has been far and away years I haven't, like, you know, some mornings, because I do a breakfast show. So some mornings when I was doing the breakfast show, I would play for 3-4 hours. I wouldn't do that on a Saturday night. I haven't done that on a Saturday night for 20 odd years, if not more. You know what I mean? So now that you get to do that, you get to think about what you're selecting a bit more. You get to bring back tunes that you are used to playing, that you kind of put in the box and forgot about it. And you say, but hold on a minute, that tune's still a banger. You bring it back, you introduce it into your set, and that's all been good. And I think, you know, even me looking at other DJs, it's been good because I've gone into other people's rooms, whether it's on Instagram Live or it's on Facebook, and I've heard them playing music. I've said, oh yes, that tune there, I can use that tune. So I think it's been positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about the cross-fertilization, and I think that's where London is unique. You know, you got Bangla DJs, Latin American DJs, Colombian DJs, Afrobeat DJs, Jamaican dancehall DJs, hip hop, this, that. Man, it's team world. It's all out there. All of the asset that you need is right here in this city, probably your neighbor. You know what I mean? Pulling them all together. Now, I wanted to do, last summer I was going to do Havana meets Kingston, because I just knew Havana meets Kingston in terms of the genres of music. It's just going to send the people wild. And we had a couple of dance, crews from Jamaica and from the Latin American community. And we were going to have a little dance off for that as well, and so on and so forth. But it's all about that synthesis of the global culture. And I think that's where, that's where the future lies. You don't do it, the kids will, because the internet now, these youths here, they're not bounded by our limited experiences. The internet takes them wherever they want to go, and they just go there and raid that music. So cultural synthesis, I think, is something that we should be bearing in mind in the future. But if we're on the subject of music, and indeed we are, then tell us, where is first of all, I think we've got to pay homage to the fact that British music has just exploded. I mean, back in the day where you were looking to see, British groups, now we see our artists have complete global domination. And I think that's to be applauded. Who are the people that excite you? Who are the people that are new? Who are the people that are fresh, that you're looking at in your music scene and say, this is the one to watch going forward for the future? So give the people them some heads up on who they should be looking at and emerging talent, and in all the genres, whichever one you want to choose. Michael, what do you say?
Who am I feeling at the moment? Out of the UK, there's a guy called Lucas Seto.
Yeah.
Very good local guy for me. Very soulful. His songwriting is incredible. There's a new guy just launched called Alonzo Davis, and these are like brand new guys for some of our viewers. Alonzo Davis, #1 in a couple of the soul charts in the UK. Who else we got? Soul Persona. I think we know those guys.
Yep.
And then there's a lovely lady called Lady Blackbird. I think you would like her. She sounds like Nina Simone.
Wow.
She's American. Definitely one to watch out for. And then, some of my favorites at the moment, Carmichael, music lover, Ari Lennox, Jackie's, who is the new king of R&B, so he claims. Very good, though. There's a hot song out at the moment by a group called Superbad. It's called I Want Ya. For all those who keep saying, oh, it's the same old records, I'm giving you some new ones so you can search and listen to. So those are a few off my list.
Okay, all right. Well, heads up for that new and emerging talent. DJ Ali, what you got fresh for the people then?
I think UK-wise, people-wise, there's a young lady called Mahalia. Those she's UK, she's young, but she does a very maturing sound in music. Definitely, she's definitely one to watch. Done a lot of collaborations with not just the R&B artists. She's done collaborations with the young grime artists and Afrobeat artists as well. She's definitely one to watch. Also, you got your regulars like up and coming regulars like Stylo G, definitely doing big things on the street, dancehall kind of side of things. And yeah, there's a load of emerging talent out there, but like we said, it's easy to have them played, but to play them in the dances and people get responsive to them, we need to kind of open our minds. And just because a DJ plays something that you're not familiar with, if you feel the vibe of a music, yeah, you'll love music and just feel the vibe of the tune, regardless.
And music is a vibe thing, isn't it, Ali?
It is a vibe. It is.
Regardless if it's new or old, or you haven't heard it in a long time, just be responsive to new music, and the DJs will start to play new music. The worst thing for us as DJs is that if we play a couple of new tunes and the people just stand in front of us, that is not. As a DJ, you don't want to see that.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the new ones, the fresh one from DJ. So I've got a good groove. What are you saying about fresh music and people that you're exciting?
There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. As I said to you before, reggae at heart, but I've been playing soul for too many years to mention. And our scene has really gone down that independent road at the moment. As a lot of the artists are not really getting signed, but there's a lot of stuff on the road. I'm glad to see that Hill Street Soul's back. Our very own. She's got a really cool slow jam at the moment that's doing massive things well. Alicia Laverne back. Sheila Prosper's back with an album. And I will second that track that Easton was talking about, Super Bad. I do like that track. And the one I'm championing right now is an artist by the name of Rockwell Hallcock. Yeah, Rockwell. Sorry, my bad. Rockwell. Got my head now. 2 seconds, got it right out of my head. I've been playing it for the last couple of weeks. It's got it right out of my head. But there's so much stuff on the market right now, and the strange thing about it is that as EastEnder was saying about going to the record shop and picking up music, it's mad out here. And we'd love to play that music in a dance. I mean, on the dancehall scene, for me, I'm still stuck inside the hardcore reggae dancehall. DJs from Jamaica, obviously Stylo G is doing well, but for me, Assassin's back. I Obtain's doing his thing. Buju Banton back out from jail, making big tunes at the moment. Big tunes and making some big noise out there. So the scene is live, the scene is busy, and you get it from the radio. And we're gonna. One thing I will say, it's much easier to cross over dancehall in the dances than it is to cross over new soul in the parties. I don't know if anyone agrees with that with me. I'm just person. Anyone agree with me on that one?
Wow, easier to break.
It's strange because most of the people that come to our events are based on the love of rare groove and R&B and stuff like that. But when you play a brand new reggae tune, it's easier to break than a brand new soul tune.
Yeah.
I mean, Goody, you can answer this one. From a radio perspective, how much new music or soul music does your station play?
If you're into soul, yeah, I don't use that as a pun. I'm not promoting anything. But if you're into sorry, I didn't mean to say that. If you're into soul music, you're looking for soul music every week. And on my radio station, I'd say 70% of my soul DJs play new music all the while.
Wow.
All the while. Trying to break, because remember, when we was on the radio back in the day, and I've been on the radio for over 30 years, we always used to go to the record shop, buy brand new reggae, brand new soul, and wanted to play it on the radio so we could bring it to the public, say, this is fresh, got this yesterday, fresh off the press, And I don't think anything's changed as opposed to now. I mean, I break, well, no, I don't use that word because someone had me up and saying I break tunes, so I won't say that. Yeah, but I play a lot of new music on my show today between 6 and 8 on Supreme Radio. I play a lot of new soul music. But I also go back in time because you chase and chase and chase and chase, and then you get to a stage of being like, oh God, let me just play something that let's go back a bit. But predominantly new music, we all know that's where it comes from. It comes from the radio, and the ravers want that to transition to the party. So yeah, I play a lot of new music.
And I think the tradition in dancehall is fresh music, isn't it? I mean, that's the point.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah. It's like the audience expects to hear fresh music, where that might not be the same for other genres of music. Ray, fresh talent, emerging talent. What's going on?
Fresh talent. Okay, UK wise, Alana Marie. She's got a new single out called Happy Hour, which is it's got a take of the Omar Nothing Like This behind it.
Okay.
From Brixton, as it goes. She's a local London girl. And that track is pretty cool. I like that. I do like the Carmichael. Top down by Edilan or Adeline? Adeline. I like that as well. That's going fine. Kitterly by Sam One. That Afro house tune, that's an Afro house tune. It's a French guy that's done that.
Okay.
That is really taking life over the lockdown. And our own UK dancehall representative, Chucky Star, has jumped on it and done a little remix on that. That's absolute fire too. So you lot should, if you haven't heard that, then you need to. It's a great stuff. I like Kem. Lie to Me is a nice little soul tune.
A very good song. Number 1 on the Billboard chart in America at the moment, that song is.
Great.
So yeah, fantastic song.
Emily Sunday, More of You, still doing the rounds. People still, it's looked like they're really growing into that song, even though it's been around about 8 months now, but it seems like they're really taking to it now at the moment. Styler G, yes. Where the Mullah there. That's his new song out, and that is definitely taking life. And Popcorn from his album that he released back in January, Numbers Don't Lie. That tune as well is absolutely fire at the minute.
Wow, great tunes. You know what? I'm surprised that there's not more Afrobeat in your guys' selection, man. We're given that Afrobeat is so dominant at the moment. I'm just wondering what I did this thing again with a group of Afrobeat DJs. Is there?
But Lee, Afrobeat, Afro House. You get it?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, other than you, I didn't really that.
I'm a 100% soul guy. So there's you're not gonna get no Afrobeat out of me.
Have you not heard some African soul? Who's that saxophone player from Nigeria who wears a mask all the time when he plays? And he played with a full orchestra. He comes Ghettos of Niger. And what's his name? You never see his face. He's always got a mask on, plays a saxophone. Yeah, but this guy's bringing some African soul like you've never heard.
Not in our raves, mate.
Maybe
we're missing the trick there, Lee, but we'll look into that one.
We'll look him up, mate.
I'll send him I'll send you the details. Afrobeat, I think is absolutely big. Grime, again, big genre, making massive inroads all around the world. So yeah, the international music scene, I think, is from Britain at least, is absolutely burgeoning. Well, it's gone. It's coming up to 20 to 12, guys, and as you know, when we're having a good time, this time just flies in the Lee Jasper time. But I've got to bring, as my dad said, bring the boat into the harbour, son. Bring the boat into the harbour. So as we come and wind off, and I give a final few words to our listeners on there, I just want you to reflect on each of you in turn. Really reflect on the discussion today in terms of the challenges that you've talked about, the opportunities that you've talked about, the talent that is out there. And give us your final thoughts and comments on some of the issues that have been raised by us here today. So, starting off with Ray, if I may. Ray, give us your final thoughts on what you've thought about the program today, what you've picked up on the issues and the discussions that we've had, any thoughts you want to leave our viewers with this morning?
Yeah, I suppose one of the main ones is try and work with us as we try and implement the better normal when it comes to events over the next coming few months. It's going to be hard. We're going to get some aspects of it we're going to get wrong. So we kind of need you to feedback to us, tell us what we're getting right and what we're getting wrong, and work with us. It's going to be difficult. We're not even sure what kind of fee that we can charge for people coming out, and then we don't even know what the venues are going to be charging us. So there's going to have to be some way that you can just work with us for now until we find our feet as a community. Otherwise than that, nothing else. Interesting topic again. I see people have got. I see the message boards. People have got a lot of opinions.
It's
good, but I think when we do go online to discuss things like this, I think it helps because I think a lot of the time it's perceptions of what people actually think, and we're not there to answer it. So they just, it just grows and grows. And I think forums like this help us to explain what we're about, what we do, how we can help, how they can connect with us. So it's all good.
So good. And your did we sort out who founded that podcast between?
No, we both. No, we both. Me and his dad have been talking about this podcast for years. I mean, even before that, because we used to do community radio before that, and we came off of it because we just couldn't. There was nothing exciting us about what we were doing because we'd done radio for many years, so we just wanted to do something different. So with the live streaming, with the video thing ethic, we came up with Set the Trend podcast, which set the trend. It talks about people who set the trend then, and can also describe people who are setting the trend now. So what we do, we get to celebrate people that have laid the foundations for us before, and it's very interesting that is as well, because you might think it's just about Touch of Class and it's about mystery, but it's not. It's about sounds like Sir George. It's about the old ragga sounds, the big sound systems back in the day, and you're going back to the 60s, with some of the timelines that have been connected with that, and some of the history that has unfurled and has led us to where we are now, Lee. So it's just also interesting, and it's just something that we want to continue to talk about and to spread. And we've also, on Set the Trend podcast, we've also now opened up. I mean, we do 4 podcasts, if I could just quickly say that. So we've got Set the Trend podcast, which looks at our scene. We've got Set the Trend podcast Soca, Inside Soca, which looks at the soca scene, because that's another untapped genre within London that's so very big, and it doesn't really get the credit that it deserves. So we've got Reds, who's going to be hosting that and talking about that. We have It's Our House, which talks about the house scene, which we've got MC Creed and MC CKP, who are talking to their people in that genre who came along, and so they can tell their stories so people don't take it. We've also we're going to be we've got 3 people who we're going to talk about on Tuesday on Set the Trend podcast that are going to be talking to the next generation of DJs who have come up underneath us, and talk to them about their story and about their contribution to the music industry. So that's where we're kind of going with it. And we also got Set the Trend specials, which we talk to people. So we talked to Shantae Moore on Thursday, I think that was. So we did we had a live conversation with Shantae Moore. We've got a live conversation coming up with 2 reggae legends that I'm very looking forward to, because that's something different. And there's a bit more that we're going to be doing as well as. So in terms of what's been going on in this lockdown for us, it's been very productive, and we've used our time to really connect with the community and what's going on, and thinking about our legacy and what we're going to do with that.
Well, today people have got a glimpse into what the future looks like, because raves are never going to be the same again, quite frankly. So it's a paradigm shift in it. So good groove as we move from the old to the new.
Well, I mean, I like to come onto these shows because sometimes, as Ray said, people have an idea that we don't care or we're here for the money or just. I mean, I'm a promoter. I'm a self-employed promoter, stroke DJ, stroke so everything in the music industry. So I did this for quite some time. I'm sure people know this. Yeah, but I did get some points from here. The block parties thing. I'm half in and half out on that. One thing I am quite in on is this taking our brand abroad. As I said, London is phenomenal in what we do, whether we're young or we're old. Yeah, I remember, bearing in mind, myself, Ray, and Ali followed people who were before us, and there are people who are following us who are behind us. So, it's a turning thing that's going to continue to go until we, pop our clogs and die. So, I want to make my brand bigger before I go. And taking things abroad for me is the new thing for me. I believe that taking what we do to another country and showing them our culture and what we do, and if we can shine in that, I'm doing this is my second year now. I'm doing a trip to Abu Dhabi. Took Ray and Ali with me last year. Phenomenal trip, different place, different sites, different clubs, and for me that is the way forward. I mean, we're here. We've been doing this for 20, 30 plus years here. Now let's expand our brand and take it somewhere else. As you were saying, Lee, we need to represent ourselves or get someone to represent us, so we can be a little bit more powerful than what we are. And finally, on that note, I just want to tell the ravers, yeah, we're not your enemy. Yeah, we're here to bring you music. This is good. We're here to bring music for you to enjoy, for you to party. We're not here because we don't like you. No, we do like you. And everyone, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, and even in the lockdown, people have been very, very, very vocal. There's a new star emerged amongst this lockdown, a guy called Leafon, who has taken online streaming to another level. Yeah, and I pay homage to him. It's what you do. I don't have any, bad feeling towards him because you get that thing. Oh, he's really good. And I know some of the DJs. I'm not going to speak the names. A bit upset that they're not getting the love that Leafon's getting in the lockdown. But we've been here for a long time, so I'm not getting anywhere just yet. I don't have any underlying health problems, and I haven't got corona. Yeah, so I'm here until my body tells me that I can't be here. You see what I'm saying? But on going forward, I'm a promoter, and I will always try and promote good events and bring you quality events. Yeah, if you're coming and working with, and I'll bring you quality DJs. And the cartel's always around there somewhere in the background. Yeah. So on that note,
yeah. Well, there you go. And you're right. I think as you guys, are part of the OG scene, you've got to elevate up into the international scene. I can't, I'd stress that to you all day long. And you're absolutely right on that. So, DJ Ali.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting us. First of all, Lee. It's definitely been enlightening. I think we've all learned a few things in regarding, the music aspect of things and people appreciating more wider aspects of music. And saying that, as Goody said, we're here to entertain you, and we just want everybody to have a good time when they go out. Like I said, like if we're playing new music, embrace the new music. If we're playing old school music, embrace the old school music. And, it's just one of those things where we all need to work together. Talking about working together, we're trying to bring in different aspects of DJs. Next week, Saturday, we've got a live stream in a venue next week, Saturday. I think it's the 4th of July. And we've got a few different DJs on there. We've got Lolly, DJ Lolly, Tipper D, various other DJs. But it'll be the first time we're doing a live stream from a club environment. So we're going to try and see what happens. There's a few people invited. If you feel you want to come there and, see how it's all going to work. Come down there, get in touch with myself or Dodd, and we'll see if we can make it work. But yeah, it's definitely been enlightening, and I'll be reading the comments afterwards for all those people.
Lee, can I just say before we go, oh, he's back. So I was going to leave it to EastEnder to mention who's the new host of Set the Trend podcast, but he's back.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not internet connection.
You don't have broadband in London.
I'm still using a dongle key.
What?
I'm only joking. Sorry, I missed the last part of the conversation. What was the question?
Well, we were just talking about the final few words, summary of what you've heard, the discussion today, the issues it's raised. As we come to the close of the program, just inviting people to give their, final thoughts, really.
Really enjoyed the conversation. We need more of these conversations. The comments that are coming through are fantastic. I wish we had a little bit more time to discuss, community radio stations. I think that's an integral part of what we do. But I'm sure we can do that again. Look, the future, as a new normal, better normal. I think we're going to come out on the other side better. I think we're going to have better raves, better music. I think it's going to be better for us, and the future looks bright.
Okay. So Lee, could I just finish then, because he forgot to do it then?
What was that? Did I miss something?
So the next host of Set the Trend podcast, the next gen, are Mr. Play, Shasha, and DJ Milk Tray. So they will be interviewing the next generation of DJs and carrying that forward. Me and Ali forgot to mention All White Cocoa. Can we just say many thanks to all those who came to our Zoom party, it's probably still the most amount of people that's been to a Zoom party. They really connected with us. We do appreciate it. We do value your time and effort that you spent on that. We're still doing our thing, so you'll see All White Cocoa September. If it doesn't work in September, then we'll be doing it next year. So either or either. Just thanks for that. And Lee, thank you very much. Keep on doing what you're doing, and we appreciate your time and your effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick mention to the team behind Cocoa White as well. And Ray, also Michael, also Dodd, all the reps as well. Looking forward to putting on future events for Cocoa White, definitely.
And for those who like good music, new music, fresh music, Tuesdays, Facebook Live on my page, you won't be disappointed.
Everybody's doing promotion. Goody Good Group, your station. You might as well get it in.
Yeah, I might as well get it in now. 29th October to the 3rd of November. Remember, we're going back to Abu Dhabi. Fingers crossed. I know the hotel. We're secure with the hotel. Just waiting for the flights to be eased up. We're going out. Special touch, Studio Express, 5th Avenue, big business. Jay Nelson and some Supreme family. We are going to have ourselves a ball. You can still book. Yeah, we are going. Yeah, we are going. Or catch me tonight on supremefmlive.link.com, 6 till 8 p.m. tonight. New soul music. Yeah? All right.
There you have it. Well, guys, look, it's been absolutely fantastic discussion, and you're right. I think we need to do a whole new program on community radio, and that's an issue that I think we could easily spend 2 hours on. It's been a delight hosting you and having you today. You put a smile on my face and given me an insight into the world of promotion and advancing the culture and the music. So I'd like to thank you all enormously for spending 2 hours with Lee Jasper on Lee Jasper Drive Time. Thank you very much. And I expect to be on all your guest lists, as that's the sole reason.
We want to be on your guest list, Lee. We've heard about your guest list. It's your guest list we want to be on, man.
So if you hear anybody kicking off at the door, at the gate, it's been a delight to have you, and I'm definitely going to have you all back again to talk about these issues going forward. So thank you very much, guys. It's been a delight. Speak to you soon. Hope all goes well with the challenges in relation to the industry and your individual and joint brands continue to prosper, bringing much needed joy and comfort to a community that, let's face it, in these desperate times, needs to have a smile on its face. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we bring the boat into the harbour, it's now 5 to 12. This is the Jasper drive time, and we've had an absolutely fascinating discussion in relation to all of the issues that are around our culture, the potential of our culture, which is one of the most successful cultures in the world, the most marketable cultures in the world, and the most exciting and dynamic cultures in the world. Everywhere in this country you go, you're going to see people who are adopting our culture. The question is for us, is can we rise to the challenge so that we can control that culture? Can we leverage it to the benefit of our own community? And can we take it to its obvious international potential? I think we can. I think you've heard people on the programme who have the vision and the capacity to take it to the next level. And we'll wait and see, and we'll watch with great interest to see if we can own the culture, defend the culture, promote the culture, and bring world thematics, world vision, team world DJs to a market that is desperate, hungry for cross-cultural synthesis of our music genres from all over the world. It's been a delight having you. Can I just say to the people who have watched the program, I've got to give you a 5-star black salute from the Jasper today. The comments have been so thick and fast. The studio can't keep up with them, and I've not been able to read them. But there are people whose names are far too many to mention, who are staying with this program, supporting us. And I'm deeply grateful for your support. This is the 8th program in a 10-program series, so you can go back and you can look at all the other programs that range from domestic violence to mental health to black businesses, you name it. We've covered quite a lot of topics. We're going to bring you a special, and that is all white people, chief executives who are going to brave the arena with me here to talk about the challenge that Black Lives Matter poses to white institutions, white society, and the corporate sector. So that's going to be another great show. And so stick with us until we come to this end of the 10 series. We're also going to be doing a series of in-depth interviews where I'm going to be on the streets doing in-depth panorama type interviews covering some of the issues that affect our community with section 106 media in greater length. So if you've got scandals, if you've got issues, if you've got unearthed stories that really deserve to be brought to the wider attention, then do let me know. We'll be looking for those new stories as we develop this new sorts of offer. I just wanted to say before we go to visit www.blacksocks.com because that's the Black Socks website for which sponsors my channel. And if you're looking to self-help, if you're looking to work with other black people, if you're looking to give something back to the community, develop business consortiums in order to maximize your business leverage, you're looking for contacts and support and help, www.blacksocks.com is the site for you. It's a 21st century black social movement that focuses on self-help and building the black economy. As we've got a couple of minutes left, I'm going to wind up by saying that, you know, this music industry, one of the biggest sectors in our economy. So it has to be taken seriously. It's a multi-million-pound thing. Can I say bye, given I've got a couple of minutes left, to some of our own followers and supporters, Paulette Cobham, Anita Leslie, Lyndon Wizard, Daryl Corrin, Wendy McLean, Trevor Jarrell, love that name, Jarrell Bowden, Debs B, Sandra Prescott, Reggie Styles, I love that name, Reggie. Should be in a East End gangster movie, Reggie Styles. Avril Coelho, listen, Avril, thank you. You're here every week and we appreciate your support. Knee Deep, Everbean, Paulette, George Williams, Bella Blake. Bella Blake, I'm going to get her on the show if it kills me. She's got the best radio voice of every woman I've ever met, so we need her on the show. Sandra Prescott, Mikey Farrell, Helen Fontaine, Alan, and Tegan, Allison, and Delroy Cullen, Jazzy Delroy, Sterling. Listen, absolutely far too many for me to continue to mention, but we thank you for your support. We love you dearly, and we're going to see you next week at 12 o'clock. You've been watching Lee Jasper Drive Time. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Over and out.
Hi, my name's Lee Jasper. This is Brixton, London, and you're watching Lee Jasper Drive Time.